What's up, Team Wowdy? It's Rob with Wowdy Proof, back with another video. The first video that we had of the year, we talked about some of the things that we were excited about, right? We talked about the four whiskeys that were coming out in the month of January that we know of, shared some pictures of different bottles, nothing that I think was very specific, although we did find the New Riff malted rye single barrel picture. That actually looks like it's going to be pretty good, 6 years, 100 proof single barrel. So should be pretty tasty. But I kind of want to talk about the other side of things. Like we talked about how I want this channel to be about the hopes, right? What we're longing for, what we're searching for, the new finds, the old favorites, the that whole journey together, right? But what about the concerns, right? And so there seems to be some things that we should be concerned about in 2026 when we talk about bourbon and whiskey. And so there is actually a list of distilleries that have filed for Chapter 7 or Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And so I got a little list here of some bourbons and whiskey distillers that might catch us a little bit by surprise. There is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them that are filed for bankruptcy. And so number one is Wilder Whiskey out of North Carolina, filed for Chapter 7 liquidation back on December 23rd of last year. They were in business for fewer than 4 years. Obviously, I think these are all craft distillers. They're not big names or anything. You got Rogue Ales and Spirits out of Oregon. Looks like they ceased all operations on November 14th of 2025 and then filed for Chapter 7 liquidation 10 days later. You got 5280 Distilling Corp out of Colorado. They filed for Chapter 7 liquidation on October 14th, citing rising costs and lower consumer spending. You got Black Button Distilling out of New York. Actually liquidated its assets and laid off its entire staff following an acquisition by the firm Black Star. Don't know who those guys are. You have Dented Brick Distillery out of Utah. They filed for Chapter 11 and began liquidating operations in 2025. You got A.M. Scott Distillery out of Ohio. They filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy on December 22nd of 2025. You got Devil's River Distillery out of Texas, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in May of 2025, saying that they owe over $1 million. House Spirits Distillery out of Oregon, the maker of Westward Whiskey, they filed for Chapter 11 in April of 2025 to reorganize after overexpanding. And you got Boston Harbor Distillery out of Massachusetts that filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy March 31st of 2025. And obviously, we got some of the major distillers that are problems, right? I guess you got the Jim Beam that's shutting down or pausing production at the Claremont facility. A lot of people, I think, overreacting to that. They are sitting on a lot of stock. A lot of specialty products are made at different locations. But still, it is one of their larger production facilities. It's probably more so, might be more so just that they're upgrading systems and things like that to produce more and better whiskey. Garrard County Distilling out of Kentucky closed operations and furloughed its workforce amid a $2.2 million lawsuit in financial distress. So, I'm not familiar with Garrard County Distilling, but it is listed as a major distiller by this news outlet. So unsure about that one, but or what that lawsuit was about. That one might be interesting to look up more. Some of the primary or root cause of these things, right? Trade barriers. Obviously, the President Trump in office talked a lot about tariffs, right? U.S. spirits. The exports fell 9% in the second quarter of 2025. Specifically, exports to Canada plummeted 85% due to retaliatory tariffs. And so you might recall quarter two, probably like May, June-ish, the big news from Canada was that they were pulling American whiskey off the shelf and they were basically sending it back. Uh, they were not allowing it to come into the country, and so 85% sales just from Canada alone. That's impressive. That um, the whole country is not taking basically any American bourbon. There is a reduction in consumption. In 2025, Gallup poll showed that only 54% of U.S. adults consume alcohol, a nearly 90-year low. And so a lot less people are a little more health conscious. Obviously, alcohol is not good for you. I know I'm an alcohol drinker myself. But yeah, it's poison. And so um, that's why I prefer to drink it neat and sip at it a little bit, right? Uh, but there's also economic pressures. Distillers are reporting the rising costs of labor, rising costs of raw materials, inflation, and everything that makes small batch operations unsustainable is in those rising costs. And so, if it costs more to have a workforce that's moving and blending barrels, um, more cost in the cost of corn and rye and barley and wheat. Yeah, this all adds up. And so um, there's concern for the bourbon community. Obviously, we're not talking about probably a large concern, probably with most bourbon consumers. Um, we're still probably going to be able to get all the regular products on the shelves. The big thing that would be to concern is who else is going to pause distillation? Is anybody else going to take Jim Beam's lead? Is another distiller going to come out and say, maybe I should pause this production here? The big news is not that these people are going to pause those. It's that there's 16.1 million barrels. Yes, 16.1 million barrels in Kentucky aging right now. And so you may be thinking, well, why don't I have more access to some of these fantastic whiskeys that are being put out? And so if a distiller is not producing, there's still a lot of distillate left in Kentucky. And so I'm going to theorize here. This is not patented. This is maybe I've heard a bit from here or there from other influencers or whiskey tubers or around the community, but we're sitting on 16.1 million barrels. Non-distilling producers are putting out bangers all over the place. Um, why wouldn't we think that maybe these major distillers might actually decide to start releasing some of it? Maybe even purchase some of these smaller craft distillers that are in jeopardy of bankruptcy or liquidation. Um, we could see maybe some off-brand uh, offerings coming out very soon that might taste a lot like a major distiller, and that might be exciting. Now, something to take in mind: the 16.1 million barrels are being taxed by Kentucky. Yeah, so these distillers are sitting on the barrels, and Kentucky's taxing them for sitting on them, more or less. That's interesting. The state of Kentucky made something like $75 million in 2025 off of aged whiskey. Believe it or not, that is the truth. You can look it up yourself. I was shocked and surprised to see that, to hear it from others. Now, there are some more laws in place that are recently passed that will bring that to an end at some point, but not for 15 some odd years. And so that, I think, is going to put some pressure on distilleries to release more and more offerings, especially if they're not releasing the overseas versions of things. What about Wild Turkey? Wild Turkey is releasing a 12-year version overseas, and we're just now getting an 8-year here. Now I know there's a Russell's 13, but Russell's 13's MSRP is 200 plus. I don't think you're paying $200 for a Wild Turkey 12 in Japan. So maybe we'll start seeing aged distillate from major producers that is being offered in states at reasonable prices. That would be something that I would look forward to. Um, Probably going to see a lot more NDPs producing more and more whiskey, getting a getting their hands a hold of more and more barrels, aged barrels from major producers. And so a lot of things to look forward to in 2026. There are some concerns. Obviously, we're talking about distilleries that will end up probably letting people go, pausing operations, those type of things, which could cost the economy. But at the same time, I think there's enough chance for recovery with all the bourbon boom back in the 2020, 2022 range. Um, the sales have dropped since then. So sitting on so many barrels probably isn't a bad thing. It's probably the opportunity that many companies are going to take to be able to make some money and continue to produce some pretty fantastic things. But tell me what you think. Again, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you for that. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, continue to follow for more information. Um, if I'm wrong about anything, please feel free to comment. Like, this is a conversation. This is not meant to be me being the subject matter expert. This is me just curating a journey and exploring this bourbon and whiskey world together. So, again, friends, this is Rob with Rowdy Proof. Thanks for watching. If you watched all the way to the end, have a great day. Cheers.